all the time. I am now recording just to let you know. Thanks, Kathy. And so, you know, don't do anything that you don't want everybody else to see. But this will be for posterity, so for Harriet, so it will be recorded.
Well, in posterity, I think for the gallery,
that too.
We're going to start doing some keeping of some of these things so that they can be brought back when we need them.
Exactly. All right. I'm going to go to speaker view. Harriet, you're on.
I'm on. The wonderful to see your faces. I'm waiting for the rest of these faces to show up down here. You just have names on them, unless they're all there.
Some people don't have their cameras turned on.
Ah, okay. That must be what it is. I did make a couple of notes thinking about, as we got started, that probably I should say that the world is my canvas. And that the show that I did 2 years ago, which was all about light and shadow, this is really an extension of that. Because you can't, without light and shadow, you can't, the world is just flat, and trees are even flatter. I've gone back to some of these trees over and over and over again, not being really happy, or just I was thinking I should probably be here earlier, or back and here and there and whatever. And it was really you just start on it. It's a project. You just and each one of them became their own project. And sometimes I'd go back for something else. How many of you have actually seen the show at this point?
I have.
About half. Great. So light and shadow, the other aspect in all of it is that no 2 days are the same. They're growing. The seasons are changing. The light is gloomy or bright.
Harriet, hang on a second. I'm hearing, and I'm not seeing, it seems like you're the only one who is not muted. Are you touching your microphone or anything?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Oh, I missed maybe over it.
Yeah, the paper was over it. Try it, okay, go for it.
All these tricks. But anyway, the angle of the sun changes the whole shape of a tree. So some trees just look better in the spring, and it's not just the blossoms. It's just that the shape of the tree is better because the angle of everything else coming onto it is changing, or coming in lower, coming in higher. It's just something to just tuck into your notebook of what you like to what you're thinking about and see. I find I use a cell phone a lot, like a little diary, and sometimes that's how I make a decision to go back to something. But otherwise, I do carry the big one, and it's a good sized camera. Because it can do many more things, and I can go in and take a picture of a heron in the tree, whereas a cell phone, you got to climb the tree to go get it because you're too far away all the time.
Harriet, what kind of lens do you have on that?
It's a 90 to 200.
Okay. So it's pretty strong far away.
Pretty strong, yeah. The trouble is it's getting really heavier. As I get older, it's getting heavier. And as I fall. Let's see if I can make sure. I just wanted to just think about this. These trees in this show are extraordinary, and there are lots of things about it. They're one of a kind, very old, gnarled, and very big. We have many people to thank for that. The city does a beautiful job of taking care of these trees. And I'm just, I keep wondering, because some of them were planted when Baker Park was, came about. Some of them, and so a whole collection of people have taken care and taken care and taken care and taken care, which is just wonderful. We'll have to see how all that goes. But anyway, um, they also house birds, bugs, all sorts of wonderful things, and are shelter for people, for shelter for everything. They make food for whatever, but trees are really spectacular. They're wonderful, wonderful, wonderful to have. I'm going to just switch over, and I think I know how to do this, to the trees.
Well, we may have to, I noticed that you're,
Might have to-
yeah, go
Go
ahead
ahead.
and share the screen.
I'm going to go to which one?
Share screen down at the bottom, the green button.
Oh, gotcha. Yep. And then, in this case, I want this one
Okay,
and share. Yeah. There we go.
there you go. Perfect.
Perfect.
Doesn't get any perfecter than that. Harriet, while we're waiting, Kathy Faye wants to know if you shoot digitally or do you still shoot film?
I'm digital.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good question. And I'm at a stage in which I really am delighted with it because I get my results so much faster. And I can see what I've done. We were in some kind of a hole for years and years and years. You'd have to, you take all these pictures and then you send them off to get processed. And a week later, you see what you got, and it's too late to go back and do it again. And that's sort of a problem in itself. I'm not, there it is. There it goes. This is a little disclaimer about costs and kinds of things, but the trees are really fun. And this is just the Virginia put all this together, and they're in this series in the order that they hang on the wall. So some things are next to each other on purpose. And in this, like this row, we've got snow, and we've got late summer, and you've got late summer again, and snow, and back and forth and back and forth. But so that you get a variety as you're going around. Oops, I find myself clicking here. Here we go. If we, the trees were chosen for lots of reasons, but my walk, which is of course part of the title, literally goes from my front door down to the covered bridge, and then into the park, going through the bridge, get to the lake, go to the other end of the lake, and keep on a little bit more into the next, what they call room at the city of the park. There's, I think, 6 rooms. The Carillon area is room number 1. Just in case you want to know that. Many of these are trees that are actually in my neighborhood. The first one is about 4 doors away. I don't know what the age of it is, but it's a Japanese maple, and it's just been groomed and groomed and groomed. I think for at least 2 or 3 owners of the house. And maybe was put in at the time the house was built, which was probably about 1960, because most of the neighborhood was at that point. But it's always been fascinating to me. And I'm going to go to the next one. Here we go. This one is one of my neighbors also. And it's very funny because I can't hear anybody. And so I'm not getting a laugh. I can't hear it. But anyway, he's had a wonderful time doing this and playing with it. And I don't know where he got them, but they do make this lovely, lovely, lovely face. Willow trees, one of my favorites all the way along.
Hey, Harriet, I have a question about that last one. Did somebody actually put the eyes and the nose and the mouth on, or?
Yes, my neighbor did. They're,
Okay.
I
But
think
she did it,
able to buy them somewhere.
right, she did it where there were obvious places for them.
Yes.
Got it, okay.
Yeah. Or it looks as though they were places where maybe there were limbs that were cut.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But certainly the two top ones have a base behind it.
Right.
This is very early spring on a on a willow tree, just very early. But some of you know what this is. It's a slippery elm, and it is at Frederick High School, which is very close to well, it's on the walking path also. As I think that I'm correct, and Kathy Fay may know the answer to this, that this is the largest and oldest in the United States. It was at least protected at the time that the school was being constructed. And I did worry about it and worry about it. Suzanne, I'm sure, remembers when we said, "Oh, I hope nothing's going to happen to that tree." Well, it made it through it and doesn't have all the construction stuff around it anymore. This one is in a duo in one frame, so that you see it with snow on it and with the bare branches, and next to what it looks like when it's in leaf.
And Kathy says you are right, it is the largest.
It is, okay. I was pretty sure. And again, carefully taken care of. We're lucky. They'll see coming up the corkscrew willow. These are the leaves on it and the branches, and everything is corkscrewy. I mean, all of the pieces, and not sure how is there a pointer? There isn't a pointer, is there?
There is, but
I don't know where to get it. I hadn't thought about
we
that.
can see your cursor, so you can just use that.
Yeah. Okay, but it's interesting because they're even screwy in terms of branches going up, 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 up. Let me see if I can whip around, show you the. There you go. This is the bark of that same tree, which is, we can come back to that. I'll show you this is the tree itself. This would have been early spring, by my guess, because of the color of the grass. But it's a very venerable tree, and I think it's the only corkscrew willow in the park anywhere. Hard to say. So that one's that. The Copper Beech is at the bottom of Klein Boulevard, and the covered bridge is just down the path from it. But it's the color of the house, the color of the leaves, the shape of this tree are just wonderful, and exciting, I think.
We have a couple of comments. One
Okay.
question, one comment. One is Bunny wants to know if anybody found morel mushrooms under that huge elm. Because I guess I am not a morel mushroom person, but I guess they do grow under elms.
This has been a mushroom year.
Yeah.
There, I've had all kinds of mushrooms out all over my backyard.
Yeah.
Never seen them before. And there are a couple of houses around here where there are sort of stands of mushrooms.
Might be worth going to the elm to see if there are any morels.
I didn't see them there.
Thomas had a great idea, actually, Harriet, which we should work on. We need to make a map of your walk with these trees on it, so people could walk this walk and see these trees in person.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
We could do that
Or
because they're all available.
or Karen said maybe you could just lead us out on a walk sometime.
Oh, that's even more fun.
Yeah.
And partially because they're all fun. It becomes one of those times where you start out on a project and then you find that it's got all kinds of yummies. I mean, quick, all the way to the end. There it is.
Yeah.
That's the base of that Copper Beech we were just looking at. This is what it's sitting on. Somebody said that it looks like an elephant. And somebody else has said a variety of things. I think is positively gorgeous. And it's amazing to me, all the whorls and the lines and all the other things that happen in it. Snow, just apropos of, because this has snow on it, is highly useful in terms of photographing trees, because you can see more of the tree, number one, but also they help to make lines and edges, so that you can see it better. Let me whip back. Kind of going in this series because it's about the way you would walk around the room at the gallery. Here we go. We haven't gotten, there it is. So that section that we just saw in gray and snow is this showing? Right.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Down at the bottom and a little bit, I think I was standing maybe over on this edge, just because that's where these knobs all are. But I shot it many times. Just great fun. Oh, whoops. Just thinking part again. My electric.
You okay?
Yeah. There.
This is one of those moments where everybody needs to talk amongst themselves or hum a little tune. Or,
Hum a little bit.
yes.
After a while, it wouldn't be much fun. Those of you that also love willows, I call this willow tails. Somebody said, "Is that the real word for that?" And I said, "I have no idea. I just call them tails because they look like tails." But I think the key to this one as a photographer was this odd little edge of what I think is one of those dams, in retrospect, so that there's a little water going over the edge. And consequently, I think it gives a lot more depth to the whole photograph. But it's water and willows are just a wonderful combination. Sycamores, wonderful trees. All that bark that comes up as white. I couldn't resist doing one that was just plain glorious. It's just such a beautiful thing. There are two more here. These two are in the same, they're a pair, a duo. One of the interesting things about it is that it's a, whoops, sorry, went the wrong way. This one is a photograph from 2008. And there's this little tree down here on the left-hand side of the big sycamore. This was always a very favorite climbing place of kids, everybody climbing up onto this. Somebody wrote to me the other day and said that it reminded them of yoga moves, the whole tree. That is this angle of the branch coming out and then the leafy parts at the top. And I said, yep, yeah, it does. But so this is 2008, and here's what it looks like now. It's also not quite the same time of year, but that was a fault. That little tiny tree is right here. So in 12 years, it got that big. Just it's like having these little measurements that are fun to work with. There's an alley, and you probably on your little announcements of these cherry trees. I think there are 14 of them, and they just go all along. It's in a slight curve at just at the covered bridge, and they're just knockout, absolutely knockout. Fun to photograph, and lovely to look at. This is from the corkscrew willow, also. Just amazing piles of bark, and the color. I couldn't get past the color, and I think Suzanne will remember when I stopped dead cold one day and just said, "Oh my God, look at that!" As we were out walking our dogs, and it's the color is just amazing.
And I can see what you mean about the light that you were talking about beforehand. If we didn't have the light and shadow, everything would be so flat because.
Well, it would not be. You wouldn't get those little corners and edges.
Exactly.
Yeah, so noon is still not the best time to photograph, but early morning is great. And one of the other reasons for it is that there are not as many people out, but it tends to be early morning light's pretty wonderful. I think it's one of my it's my favorite, but I'm an early person. This is also from that corkscrew willow. And this one really is amazing to me. The street that I live on, I think when they built the houses, they put a pin oak in the front yard of every one of the houses. Now, they don't do that in developments anymore, but this one, no two houses are the same, but they all got the same tree. This one has been there all the way along. So the development's like 1960. My house, I think, is 1961. If it had one in front of it, it's gone. But my next door neighbors have one on both sides. And there are a lot of these trees there. They're enormous in height. And but I think the other factor here is that it's a pretty good example of what happens when the snow is just light and just making all those beautiful little white edges. It's like it becomes a little bit like a drawing. It's just a different whole look. Here's the corkscrew again. This is one of my favorites. And I think it's the oldest photograph in the group. I'm trying to think. Oh, no, it's 2019. But again, the snow made all the difference. So just a couple of footsteps down going on the path, but it may even be that the path was made and then somebody just walked on it. But it's very, very, very little. It also makes me think of children's books. That it's almost monochromatic, with the exception of the little bridge, but it's all these lines defined by the snow, which just bundle up and go out. This is a shagbark hickory. It's in its last heaves, but it's better looking this year than it has for a couple of others. It really does flake off in little patches, and usually around it there's something on the ground that's falling off this little tree. It's a good tree. Always interesting. We have dawn redwoods in the park, and there are more than one. I think the one to the right is also one. They don't look the same at this time of year as they do when they don't have any leaves. And then you see them as a red tree, a red trunk all the way up and down. I included them at the very end in my thinking, because I really thought, well, we really should have those in there. So I just went out and photographed them one day. It worked, but I don't have the comparison to the bark. This tree is back again. It just loves the snow. It loves everything. It's beautiful, but it is so dense when the leaves are there that you can't photograph it. So again, the odd times of year actually are better for photographing trees. This is a bald cypress. And I know that the city has just planted a couple more. I think they're very near the covered bridge. But this one is an old one, been around for quite a while and on the edge of the creek. Strange, but this incredible, everything going up shape to it. I don't know a whole lot about the bald cypress. Here's that alley of cherry trees, again, in the snow, when you can actually see them. This is I think I don't know which flowering anything it is. I tried to query the owner and he couldn't remember. So I just call it a flowering tree. But it goes on and on and on. It's interesting to look at almost every time of year, except for right now when all these other trees are out around it and everything is green. This does help to have it. Well, you can sort of see the slight differences in the greens, but it's not enough to be able to make a photograph out of it.
Caroline says that that's a weeping cherry.
Is it a weeping cherry?
Mm-hmm.
That big?
Mm-hmm.
If it's that big, that must be a winner.
Uh-huh.
All right, I'm gonna check it out, Carolyn.
I love that you have people on this one, because sometimes
you
it's really
have to.
hard to tell how big trees are when you just,
Yep.
I mean, even if they're next to a house, I still can't tell how big they are until you have them next to a person.
Yeah, this is in a backyard. And yeah, you're exactly right. The people make a great difference. And that pin oak back we were looking at before, the house helps you understand how big that tree is because it's so low and so flat. Mm-hmm. But this one is a silver maple, and I called it an ancient silver maple. Nobody knows how old it is. The center of it is pretty much gone, and it's still got these big branches working up and up and up and up and up. There was no place to even back up any further to even show the top of it. But I figured that with those two people and realizing this is almost a 3-story house sitting behind it, it's dwarfing everything. It's enormous. And they're taking very good care of it, but we know that it probably was planted before the 1900. So that puts it in pretty good shape. This is the path essentially from near the bridge toward the lake. And there's a poster in the show that's a big enlargement of this. But to me, there's these wonderful times where you just get nothing's there except this beautiful line and the shadows and the light and all those good things. And we've seen this guy before. So we've gone through, you've seen all within this, all the pieces that are in the show. Are there questions?
Well, I was thinking maybe this would be a good time for, because you have your friends Suzanne and Kathy, whether they wanted to talk about, what it's like to go out with you while you're photographing, and I mean,
experience.
Yeah. So if you guys,
Nancy's doing that?
if Kathy,
Yep.
Kathy, you
Yeah.
and Suzanne wanna talk right now, that would be great.
Yeah,
Great.
I've had, I mean, it's always, one of the real pleasures in my life. And I've told everybody that going out with Harriet is completely different because I'm not a visual artist. And we'll be walking along and she'll say, look at that. And I won't have seen it if I hadn't been with her. I've seen so many things that I wouldn't have noticed that have just been remarkable. And I'll never take shadows for granted again. I mean, I've learned from Harriet to be able to appreciate so many things on our walks. It's been really quite remarkable.
Thank you, Suzanne. I know you've also been a trusted walking buddy for a long time with dogs and with Harriet. From a teaching perspective, one of my great takeaways of walking with Harriet, and I know I've seen some folks out there have been on workshops with Harriet. You don't get a technical kind of lesson when you work with Harriet in a workshop. You get a seeing lesson. And what she reminds you to do is to keep going back and to keep looking back. Keep looking backward towards where you've come from. I'm sorry for the grammar. I know Cheryl's probably sitting there going, no, bad grammar. But you need to keep turning around, turn around and look behind you, because that view is something that you also need to take in. It's equally important and full of treasure as what you're seeing in front of you. Harriet leads me to dappling in shadows, and now that's my whole Facebook push. I take pictures with me when I take my camera with me when I take walks in the morning, and she taught me about the timing. You really need to think about photography between 8 and 10 a.m. And I know she gets up earlier than that. She really is an early bird. But no, I'm very thankful for the walks we've taken in New Hampshire and in New Mexico. The different light, the different environment. But yes, it's about really seeing. And I think we take a lot for granted in our world. And I think if everybody just took their phone with them and just captured a beautiful thing they saw every day, I think your day would be a lot better.
Oh, I think that's wonderful advice. Great advice. Thank you.
I know I caught one thing. I caught like birds on a wire or something over a road, and the woman next to me, she's like, what are you looking at? And I told her, and she said, I would never have thought to look up there. So it is kind of cool to just stop and look around. Harriet, how would you like to just scroll back through these real quick, and while everybody, gets a chance to see them one more time? And then if anybody has questions that you want to ask, you can ask it straight out, or you can type it into the chat.
Great. Am I going slow enough? Good. And of course, these are not all of the wonderful trees. It is a sample. But I'm not finished. Richard just walked by and said, "You're never finished."
Good. You shouldn't
Yeah.
ever be finished.
No, you can't be finished. Well, when you're finished, we know what happens.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, see the difference between this, you can't see the tree very well when it's got its leaves on, but you see it pretty darn well when it doesn't. That's what I love about some of these. So that's going back through.
All right, well, why don't you stop sharing then, and we can, unless people have, oh, wait, don't do that
Okay.
yet. Karen has a specific question about the little tree that grew up next to the sycamore.
Okay.
What was the name of the little tree that grew up next to the sycamore?
I don't know. I mean, as in kind?
Yeah, I guess. Karen, you can unmute and ask the question.
Yeah, I just was wondering if you knew.
No, I actually, it was at a point which I think I was actually photographing the knee of the sycamore and that little tree next to it. And that was all those years ago. And
Okay.
the same image just isn't even there anymore. It's just a tree, with a lot of leaves. But it does, having done this spring and discovered that, I am going to go look in the fall and see what's going on, or winter, and just see what the other one might be. Thanks.
I have a question, Harriet,
Yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead.
about the tree with the face on it. Is that face always there, or was that just, did the neighbor just hang it up there for a little while? And
Been there about a year and a half, apparently. I didn't see it actually until I'm not even sure. I think the coronavirus had started when I saw it. I had visited that house and came out, and then that whole scene is only really easily visible when you're standing on their sidewalk, and not the public sidewalk, but the one that goes to the house. So then I saw it, and then I can't keep my eyes off it.
oh, so the face is still up?
Oh yeah, it's been there a year and a half.
That was my question. I was wondering if they took it down. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
It's hysterical.
So Harriet, if you want to stop sharing and then, yeah, go up to the top and click stop sharing. And then we can see everybody a little bit better if you go into gallery view. And then if anybody has any questions, this is the time when you can unmute and just sort of chime in if you want, and just, or let Harriet, know how fun this was to do. Unless, I mean,
thought it was fun.
if Harriet has more to say, I don't know.
I think I've chatted, more than maybe you should have. I'd love to. What questions do you have?
Actually, I just wanted to comment, which I just would say that there aren't a lot of things that I think work all that well on Zoom, but this really does. You really get a chance. We got a chance to see the images and see you and each other. So, I think doing a virtual gallery talk like this works well.
Thank you for that feedback.
We thought, well, and we saw it as a survival factor, because I just said there are so many friends I have from all over the place that always say, I'm really sorry I can't come, because I can't, it's 10 hours or it's across the country or whatever. So this gave us a chance to see what happens if you do it this way, and you can, and just put it out there. And we'll see. There are a couple of people, I'd love to know if Nancy Quigley can hear me. She's here on the list, but I think maybe she can't. And
Yes,
we don't know.
I can.
You can. Hi.
And it's really wonderful, because I would be among those who probably would not be able to come, even if conditions were better. And this is wonderful. I was looking at it on my phone first, and then on the computer, and going through all of these with you is just a wonderful treat, and it's a gorgeous show.
Thank you. Thank you. And we all know, Nancy and I know each other from New Hampshire. She lives in New York City, and of course I live here. But we've known each other, I don't know, 50 years, something like that. And many of the people that we know there are foresters and people who are preservationists and conservationists. And it's a wonderful place to see. And that's what Kathy's been there. And many other people get there at some point. Thank you, Nancy.
Yeah, thank you.
Then there's Nancy Aldous, who's another Nancy. I know so many Nancys, it's amazing. I don't know why.
Anybody
And
else?
Cheryl, do you want to add anything?
Shirley did put into the chat that it has been a wonderful talk and it's a great exhibit.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Mhm.
Okay, I'm trying to unmute and yeah, there we go.
Here, and there you are.
I'm in my pajamas and my hair. So, yeah, I thought it was a great talk. You know, I've taken several workshops on tree identification, Harriet. I still don't know what trees are what. And I'm not sure it'll ever sink in, but this was a very enjoyable talk. And I think your exhibit is just beautiful.
Thank you. It's wonderful. Kathy.
Hi, yes, hold on. Okay, I'm off of mute. I wanted to show a picture of Harriet taking a picture. Would it be all right, Virginia? I would
Yeah,
do
no,
that.
that's fine. That's great.
All right, because when you are the photographer, you never get to be in the picture.
True.
But Harriet, it was about 2 years ago, we were together, well, actually 5 years ago, we were together in New Mexico. There's Harriet
Hang on,
looking at her pictures.
you're not sharing yet. You're not sharing.
I'm not sharing yet. Hold on 1 second. Thank you. All right, there it is. Okay. Thank you, Virginia. This is Harriet, New Mexico.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a really good practice she also has is don't forget to check your camera's image before you walk away from the site. So that's another piece of advice she gives us. I'm going to pull up another one about how when you are on a trip with Harriet, she's going to say, stop, and we're all going to get out of the car. Nancy and Cheryl know what this is like. Why are we stopping? I'm not sure. But there's something beautiful on the other end of it. And I'm going to pull up a picture of when she did that in New Hampshire 2 years ago this week. So bear with me 1 second while I pull it up. Here it is. Okay, let me get back to the original.
At the lake?
At the pond, yeah. Okay, so this is on Facebook. Bear with me all. And I'll share the screen. And here we go. And so, Harriet, a stop for Harriet is in a bank or it's by a lake. There we go. I'm going to get that one to come up. I don't know if you all can see that. But there's Harriet right there, checking her pictures. Harriet, which pond is that? We're near the cabin, but we're not.
It's something called Child's Bog.
Child's
B-O-G.
Bog, thank you, yeah. And there's Nancy, who's on the call. And that's when we're breaking into the bank. I'm kidding.
Claire.
I can't believe they let us in the bank with cameras.
I know, that was amazing. And this is in the middle. And there's Jan O'Leary. But yeah, Harriet found all kinds of great places, hidden treasures, these beautiful murals of locals in Keene, New Hampshire. So there's always a treasure. There's always a place to be found. Always have your camera with you. That's what I've learned from Harriet.
Yeah.
Nice.
Great. Wow.
That's cool.
Well, I'm going to chime in and say thank you, Harriet. I'm not a photographer, but I'm learning to sketch, draw, and my garden is my workshop. I have a couple of really nice old trees, and you're right. Shadow and the time of day is the most interesting thing. I can do it over and over, and it's different, and I love it. So thank you. I look forward to come down and see the show. Thanks.
Great. It's good. It's good.
Yeah, all good.
I think it's probably a good thing to tell people that it will be up for another 2 weekends. And the gallery is open on Fridays from 4 to 8, Saturdays from 12 to 8, and Sundays from 12 to 4. So we have 2 more weekends that it will be up.
And I have actually made a decision this time that I would be there most of the time. So I know I will be there tomorrow night. And I'm in and out probably on Saturday, and probably will be there on Sunday. But I don't understand just sort of putting up a show and not attending it somehow. Because and I've also really thoroughly enjoyed spending time with the other people in the gallery. And as we work together and chat and see what's going on, it's just otherwise we're there by ourselves, and I don't learn as much. I always learn something from everybody. I just find I'm a gatherer of some sort. I'm not sure how it all works.
Well, I also think, Harriet, that you are a gatherer of people from this group here and from the time that I spent with you in the gallery. It's pretty obvious that you have a following. You really do, and so it's nice for you. It's nice for you to be in the gallery because it's not just strangers coming in and you get to tell them what you're doing. It's all sorts of people that you know, right. And I think that really makes a difference when you're looking at art.
Harriet, this is when we went to see your show. It was busy in the gallery. In fact, we had to wait for 2 people to leave before we could go in. And I would have loved to have had you talk about each photo. So this has been a fantastic opportunity.
Yeah.
And I know of a beech tree up in the woods that has some scratches on it, like a bear climbed it. And I never thought of trying to photograph it. But if I tried it in the snow, would I want it to be a sunny day or a cloudy day?
Both.
Yeah. But usually the cloudy would work better because it would not compete with the snow.
Okay. All right. I'm going to give it a try because it's low down, like your beautiful shot of that copper beech.
Yeah. Well, and that wasn't even on my knees. That thing is so big. I was standing to do that.
Wow.
Well, thank you for this wonderful talk.
Fabulous.
It was also valuable to put it together, and the whole thing been of great interest. And I think that it's a way that we're going to do more things. I think. I hope.
Yes, thank you for putting together the pictures so that people who can't get there can see them online, because I know that was an extra lot of work, and I appreciate it.
It was, but it also bound it together better by doing it.
I just wanted to say thank you too. This is Ann Schaefer, and I'm going to come on Sunday at noon and take a look.
Great. Oh, I'd love that. That'd be wonderful. Thank you.
But it was great to have the preview and know what I'll be seeing. Get an idea of what I'll be seeing on Sunday.
Oh, great. And you'll see them presented, which is a little different. They've got frames and mats.
Oh, sure. And different sizes. Everything makes a difference, I think.
It does. It does.
When you're seeing art, as you said earlier, it really is important to see the real piece. And but this gives us a really good, what's our appetite? So thank you.
Yes, great.
I do have to say that is one of the things that we're still working on with this being the first one that we've done, is to make sure that there is some kind of either video or picture of the work in the gallery. That we just didn't get a chance to get that done for this, but that will be something that we will be doing in the future, so that you can at least sort of see what it looks like. But as I said at the beginning, art in reality is much better than art on the screen. Even photography is better in person than it is on a screen. Well, I just think I thank you all for making an effort to come and spend an hour with me. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Yeah.